Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. I go by the name Joshi Vibe, and in today's tutorial we are going to be doing web scraping in Django. I'm going to be pulling up data from a popular e-commerce platform here in my country of residence, Nigeria. Let me open the website so you guys can see jumia.com. Nigeria. So I'm going to be pulling up data coming out of the search. For instance, let's search for product. Let's search for iPhone. Right now, if I search for this iPhone, I'm going to be getting this information that is coming out of here. I'm going to be scrapping it out and I'm going to be displaying it here. Now this is the finished product. Let me show you guys how the finished product is working. Let's search for iPhone here and see the information it's going to bring out for us. Okay, as you can see, it brought out information, the same information we are seeing here. We were able to scrap it out in our own website. Without wasting your time, we are going to start the tutorial in full. And before we continue, I want us to quickly understand what web scraping is for people who doesn't understand what web scraping is. Okay, this is the process of using bots or scripts to extract content and data from a website without using API. Normally, the traditional way of doing this is using API, whereby you now connect client side and the server side of both websites to be able to get information from the client side of the API product. But in this regard, we are not doing all that. We are not dealing with secret key, API keys, or public key, but rather we are going to use a framework from Python that will help us to be able to pull out data from this website. Okay, now with this explanation, before we even continue further, let's try to, unlike screen scraping, which only copies pixels displayed on screen, web scraping extracts underlying HTML code and with it data stored in a database. With web scraping, you can manipulate a lot of data coming out from different websites, and that is what we were able to do here, where we are pulling out data coming from this Jumia website, and we are now setting that data in our own website. Now, with this explanation being understood, it is time to start building. As usual, I want this video to be very short, and I have already set up a project we are going to work with today. If you don't know how to set up a Django project, don't worry, I got you. In the description of this video, I'm going to add a link to a previous video I did capturing how to set up a Django project. Let's start the business of the day. Now we have already set up a project. Okay, I think this one was the project I did in the past, so I'm going to close this so we can now start working with this brand new one that I've set up, because the purpose of the tutorial is to teach you how it works. We have to build from scratch, and I've already set up a Django project. Without wasting time, let's continue balancing our project that I've already set up. So in my settings here, before we even continue, what I'm going to do, let me open my terminal. Okay, my virtual environment is already activated. Let's cd into our project directory, web scraping. Okay, now what we can do, let's quickly create our first and only app for this project, py start app. Let's call it core. Okay, now in our settings.py, let's register the core app. I think this is the only thing I need to do in my settings.py file. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is in my core app here, I'm going to create my template folder, call it templates, and inside this folder, I'll create another subfolder, call it core. Now, inside my core, I'll then create a file, I'm going to call it home.html. Let's set up our HTML. Okay, so at the title, I'm going to call it web scraping. We're going to come back to this template. In our views, I'm going to create our views function that will help us to render the home HTML. I'm going to call it home, and inside the function, we're going to use request. We'll return render core/home.html. Now I'm going to create another file, urs.py. Now let's go to the one for our project root. Let's delete this and add include here, so I can include the URS we just created for our core app, empty string, then include and core.urs, add comma here. Let me quickly copy this so I can use it to make changes to the one for our core app. Save this, come back here, paste this here. Let's remove the admin, don't need it. Now for this, we don't need the include to, from dot import views, so that here I can do views dot home, then name, I'm also going to maintain it to be equals to home. Now with this setup, let's remove this include here, we don't need it. I'm going to save this to see. I'm going to add a h1 here, and what will I have in the h1 is search for Jumia products. The next thing, is to set up our form. We're going to use a form to be able to pull up our search. The next thing I have to do is to set up for our button. Now with this setup, okay, let me add some inline CSS. I don't need to create a separate file for this. What I can do is inside this our div, I can add an ID main. The next thing I'm going to also set, okay, let me save this and see how this is turning out. Okay, now let's work on the input. Okay, I think this is fine this way. Let's go back, duplicate this so I can apply the one for the hover for the submit. Let me also make some changes to the form. Okay, refresh this. Yeah, so we can have enough space there. All right, now with this setup, what I'm going to now do is to set up the views for our web scraping. What is going to help us to pull data? All right, so let me show you guys. Before we continue, we need to install Beautiful Shop, which is a library that will help us to be able to scrape out data from the Jumia website. Beautiful Shop is a Python library for pulling data out of HTML and XML5. It works with your favorite parser to provide geometric ways of navigating, searching, and modifying the PS tree. It also commonly saves programmers hours or days of work. For me, since I started using web scraping, I've realized I don't even need API to do a lot of things. But there are cases whereby you have to use API. I believe with web scraping, you can use it to maneuver a lot of data in different websites if you want to be able to be pulling out data from websites. With this Beautiful Shop, you should be able to achieve that. Another thing we are going to use is request. If you look at videos on my API implementations, I usually use request. Request is a library we use to handle requests for APIs. We're also going to use it. We are going to install this. So let me copy this pip install request. I'm going to paste the request that I just took, then go back. So for us that are using a Windows system, this is how you install. You copy this one, pip install Beautiful Shop 4. Sorry, Beautiful Soup, not Beautiful Shop. So let's go back to here. Our request has been installed. Delete this. Let me also paste the Beautiful Soup 4. Every installation is done. Clear this out. Let's start using it to build up on this function we created for our home. Now, first of all, we have to import it. For the request first, we import request. Then for the Beautiful Soup, I'm going to do from BS4, which is the version we installed, import Beautiful. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create another function that will help us to be able to get content. And now let me show you guys how I'm going to be able to use this thing to pull out data. I'm going to be using the URL. See the way this URL is showing me here when I search for iPhone, that it is putting the Q equal to iPhone. What I'm going to do is to encode my URL to capture the product that I'm going to be putting into my own search here to be this iPhone. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to set variables that will be able to handle that and also encode this URL with the help of request. Now, normally, most websites will not allow you to be able to scrap data from their website because of bots and all that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the get content function that I'm going to manipulate to make it look like I'm a normal human being coming to your website to search for products. I'm going to manipulate it in such a way whereby you'll be thinking it's a normal human being searching in your website, but you don't know it's actually a bot that is searching for the product in your website. So I'm going to set a function that will help us to do that using section and also setting the user agent. All right. So first of all, let's copy the link here. Then let's go back to our terminal here. The first function I'm going to create is the get content function. Now in my get content function, I'm going to set it to be product. First, let's set the user agent. The user agent, I'm going to set it to be equals to Mozilla 5.0. Then here I'm going to set S11, then Linux, okay, then S86 underscore 64. Close this, and here I'm going to do Apple WebKit. I have to be very careful with the way I'm writing this to avoid oversight that will cause unnecessary error. Apple WebKit, then slash 537.36 space, then I'll do KHTML, then like gecko. This is very, very important when you guys are having access to it. All you just need to do is copy. You don't need to write it from scratch. Now let me also set one for Chrome. Then I'll do 44.0.2403.5157. Okay, then put space and do the one for Safari slash. Okay, now we are setting the user agent, whether you're using Mozilla or Linux or Apple WebKit or Chrome, you'll be able to, even Safari, you'll be able to pull up information and you will not be noticed as a bot. Now let's set the one for language. Language equals to another string here. Put en, then dash us, okay, comma, then en, then q equal to 0.5. Right. The next thing I'm going to set is now our section. In our section, I'm going to do request.section. Okay. The next thing, let's do section.header user-agent, okay, equals to user agent. The next thing is section.headers again. Then for this one, we'll set for the accept language. Now let me quickly duplicate this. What I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to set this to be content language. The next thing I'm going to do is to do HTML content. I will now paste the Gmail website link we copied, but I'm going to change this because I'm going to set this to be equals to product. What I'm going to do next is inside this our home function, we will now start making changes to be able to capture. Now the way I want to do this, I want to be able to get all content. I don't want to handle it to only be able to show me for only one product, because when you search for iPhone, it brings us different iPhones. Yeah, so now to be able to do that, I'm going to set product info list equals to an empty list. Then I will do if product in request.get, then product was to request.get product. Now with this setup, I have actually done a mistake here. There should be a close bracket there. Request. Now let me also set the one for the HTML content. The HTML content, I'm now going to do call on the function we created above, get content product. Okay, now let's start using our beautiful soup. To use our beautiful soup, I will create a soup variable, and inside it I will initialize the beautiful soup function, and I will assign it to be HTML content, then set it to be HTML parser. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to get the product items. So this next variable I'm going to set, I'm calling it product items equal to soup.find underscore all. Right, now how are we going to find the product item? To get the product item, let's go back to here. We are going to inspect this so that we'll be able to see the classes of the different divs or articles or sections that was used in the HTML to pull up this information. Now to do that, I'm going to right click on here, inspect, so I can see the information. Let's bring this down. This is the information I'm looking for. As you can see from here, where we have this iPhone S3 GB RAM is inside the H3, which has a class of name. Now, I also want you to take note of this because this is where we are now going to be scrapping out data. All these things are data. I want to scrap it out, and you have to really be intentional and also specific on the type of data you want to be able to put through. Now if you look at here, we have a div info, and inside the info we have the H3 class name, and we also have another div inside this div for the class info, where we have a PRC, which stands for price, that is showing the price. Now if you go above, you will see we have an article here. This article is where every information we need is. Let's see, inside this article we also have this image, which is the place that we are going to be pulling up the link. I want you to be taking note of the classes. In the image class we have img-c, and everything is inside this article, which has a class of prod fb call c-prod. Now what we need here is the image. We also need the name, we need the price. I'm also going to pull up the rating. Yeah, I think that's all. That's the only information I need. I need those information to be able to get the products the way I want it played. If you also look below here, you will see that we have the SPRCW, and inside the SPRC, okay, now this is where, okay, this one was the old price. Even if you want, we can also capture the old price before, but that one is if you want. Me, I just want to pull up the full information. Now with this understood, remember I said every information is coming under this article that has the PROD dash underscore FB call C dash PROD. Now this is where we are now going to use beautiful soup to be able to pull up this information and use it to display in our template. Now let's go back to our home here, our view, sorry. Now we have set the soup. Now we want to be able to use soup.find all to pull up the information. And to do that, remember I said where every information is coming is under an article. We'll set the article. Now we'll get the class for that article, okay, equals to, then prod right dash, you know what, so that I will not do a mistake. Let me see if I can copy it. Copy. Okay, go back here. Let me paste it somewhere here. Has a lot of information, but I think it should show me where the, okay, yeah, so this is it. gonna copy this class, remove all of this so that I will not make mistake, paste it here. All right, now with this we will now use a for statement for item in product items. One, get the name tag. For the name tag, I'm going to set it to be item.find. Remember where the name tag is inside a h3 element, and it has a class which is equals to name. Okay, this one will help us to get the name of the product. Then for the price tag, we also set that one and do item.find. Okay, then we'll do div, then class proc. Remember what we saw then was proc. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is to look for the image tag within the img-c. Remember where we saw the image is under the img-c. Yeah, we saw the image somewhere. Yeah, img. Now we have to look for the image tag within the imc, and to do that, what I'm going to first do is to create another variable here. I'm going to call it get the div for the img div. All right, so I'm going to do this variable img_c_div, then we'll do item.find. In the item.find, I'm going to also get a div because the thing is inside a div, then set for the class, then equals to img_c. Once this is gotten, I will then create an image tag. Inside the image tag, I will now do img_c div, then I will do .find, so that I will now put another div. The purpose I'm doing this, if you look inside here, let me show you where we have our image. Yeah, so this class img. Now what I'm going to do, if you notice, it has two classes in this image. The div has the imgc, which is where we are pulling up this information, and inside this div we also have another class which is associated with the img element. So what I'm going to do is inside here, I will set this, instead of setting it to be div, as the element is not div, is img, comma, then class again, I will set it to be equals to img, comma, here. Okay, then I will do an if img_c else, then return none for us. All right, now with this setup, the next thing I'm going to do is to set the one for our rating. I'm also going to apply the same logic I applied here to be able to handle the one for rating, because the one for rating also is kind of, it has the rev, then it also has the stars_s, then it also has this class in. Now to be able to get everything here, what I have to do is to first of all get the stars s. I will then get the class in the same way we did it for here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to do stars_div equal to item.find. Okay, then it's inside the div, I will set the class equals to stars -s. I think that's the way it was written. Okay, then the next thing, get the rating div, I will do stars. Okay, then .find, and inside here I will assign div, then class_in. Set this one to be equals to in. Then also do the same if stars_div else none. Okay, now with this setup, we are almost good to go. Just need to quickly do some few more manipulation and our function is ready. What I'm going to do is now use an if name tag, and I'll use and, let me set for the price tag, then and image tag, and rating div. If it is all this for information, then set our name to be equals to name_tag.test. We are converting it to a test so that it will look great. Then price equals to price tag test. Then the next thing is to get the image URL, then equals image tag.get. Now I have to use get to be able to get the link. If you look at our image here, what is happening is that inside a data-source, which will pull up this URL for us, that will help us to display the image in our own site. If I don't do it this way, I will not be able to get this whole link. So what I'm going to do here is now get the image tag, and to get that is inside a data source. I will put comma, then set it to be empty string, and also do if image tag, then else return empty. All right, now with this setup, what I'm going to now do is to set our style_attributes variable. What this is going to do for us is to be able to get the rating div style, to get the style. Okay, then comma, also set this one to be empty. Let me add this to be double T. Okay, now the next thing is to also get the width value for the rating, and to get the width value for the rating, I will now use the style attribute, then .split. When I split it, I will add a colon to it, then list one, then use .replace. We'll replace this with an empty string, then we'll go ahead and strip. Okay, remove this 5 here. What I need is just that. Okay, with this setup, we'll then go ahead and set rating to be equals to formatted string. Inside the formatted string, I will do float, then width underscore value. Okay, then I will go ahead and divide this by 20 to 1F. Okay, so what I'm doing is to assume that each star is 20%. And with that setup, we are now trying to manipulate it to also be able to assign the rating. Rating is 1/5, but assuming that each one is 20%. Now, to assign file into our product info list, what I'm going to do is to create a product info variable. And inside here, I will do name equals to name, then price, okay, then image URL. I will set this one to be equals to image URL, comma. Okay, I used img for image. Then the last one is the rating. Okay, then set this to be equals. All right, now the next thing is to now append this product info into our product info list. Append. Okay, I made a mistake here. Append. I will now append product info to it. We can print this so you see how it is showing inside our. Let's print the product info list now. Okay, now inside here, what I'm going to do is to return the product info list. Product info list. Okay, we have been able to set up the function that will help us to pull up data. Now, what I'm going to do is that for this one, I have to convert this to be .test. Change this at .test here so that it will convert it to a test format. Okay, then let me do something here. I will return HTML content. You can even print it to see what you look at. Let's print HTML, see what it looks like. Let me remove this one here, see what it looks like. Okay, so in our home function, what we did was in the home, we first of all created a product info list. When we did that, we used the if statement to check if product is in request.get. If it is, we'll assign product variable to get the product. Once we get that, we create our, let me change this to be get content. We'll set it to be equals to product. Thereafter, we called on the beautiful soup so that it will help us to beautify our HTML content. Then we called on the HTML.parser. Thereafter, we got the product items. To be able to get the product items, we do soup.findAll. Remember, the items we are trying to scrap off from this website is inside an article which has a class of prod_fbco_c PROD. Once we do that and the soup helps us to find all information inside this article, we now try to iterate into all of them one after the other to pull out this necessary information. Because if you look at inside this, there are a whole bunch of other information that we did not even touch. We now customize this information that is coming out from the product items to be able to assign each of the classes where we want to be able to pull out those information from. One of them is the name tag that we are finding from a H3 element that has a class of name. The next one is the price tag that we are finding inside a div that has a class of PRC. The next one is also the image div which has a class of IMGC. And now we have to do some manipulation because inside I have to add find here. Because inside this our div, we also have another subclass which is coming from a different element. Once we get the div, we now use the div to find this IMG inside the IMG class which has the IMG element. Once we do that, we also go ahead and do the same for the stars. Now, let me save this. Let's go back to our home and try to make some more changes to the template to accommodate what we have done. So what I'm going to do first is that below the form, I'm going to use if product info list. Okay. You know what? Before we even do this, let's even try to test run what we've done, even though I don't need to display the information yet, to see if there's any place we have error. So we can deal with it. Manage py run server. So I've set the ID. Okay. I've also set the name. So we should be able to submit and see the information from our backend because I added some print statement to fetch this. Now let me search for iPhone here. Submit. Okay. Let's go here. Let's see what we have. I was expecting it to show me some information in my terminal here, but it's not bringing out anything. So let's cross check and see. In our template, let's see, we have product as the ID, okay, value, product then. Okay, so let me print this product info list. Refresh this, submit. So let me use if underscore info underscore list. Okay, then let me set, let's use P. Gonna do product info name. Okay, but what I can do here, if I come here, I'll do another for product info in product info underscore list and for, and if. Okay, close this. Let's go home again and try it. I'm going to search for this. Go back here. Okay, so the problem is that our get is not working well because it's not even showing me the details of the products or any problem. So challenge I'm seeing is that from here, okay, this is the problem. I added comma here. There shouldn't be comma for the ID. See the oversight I was talking about. So let's go back to our views. Look at this. So if product, not products. Let's go back again, refresh this and try. Okay, so you can see the information that we are seeing from here because of the oversight did of adding S to this product here. Now encountered error. Let me remove this print statement. So let's remove this, save it, so we'll not be able to see all those bunch of information. Let me open this terminal, terminate, and clear. Just wanted to make sure it's pulling out data. That's why I had to add the if statement. All right. Okay, what I'm going to do, let me add some print statement here to see if we are getting the name. So let's go back, refresh this. Let's start. So this is it, showing us the different names that we have. Okay, printing it out. This is not returning the way I want it to return. This one is meant to be dash and not underscore. Okay, what I'm going to do, let me remove this, remove it from here. Since we have this as the product info, let me try something and print the product info here. Okay, open our terminal and refresh this. Okay, so you can see bringing out the phone details. We have the phone. I think what I added there was the phone. So also in our, yeah, it's returning the information the right way. Okay, now what happened was because of I made a mistake to this. If you notice from this place, it is img-c and not underscore. I used underscore before, and because of that we were having issue printing out the information. But once that was corrected, I was able to pull up the information. And let me show you guys in our, yeah, you see everything is working perfect. The image URL, what about rating? Yeah, the rating is returning right. Okay, so now with this setup, let's go back to here. What I'm going to do is to try to arrange this properly. I'm going to use like a table, the way I did before, to be able to display the information coming from our search properly. Indict it and put table. Inside the table, I'm gonna quickly add a class to it, make it look good small. Add it to be pro.table. Come back inside the table. Inside the table head, I'm gonna add tr. Inside the tr, I'll add th. Add name. Click duplicate this into 4. Change this one to be price. Then this one to be image. Then the last one to be rating. Come below here, I will add the table body. Inside this table body, I will now carry this, put this here, come below, put tr. Inside the tr, I will add td, and I'm going to cut off this information that I used here. Put it here, duplicate this for 3 more, change this to be for price and image URL. So one is rate. I have to add img here, and this info that I passed here, I'm going to put it to be inside the source. You can even also add it to be also like the auth product info. Change this one to be name. Maybe add like an image here. Now this N4, cut it, put it below the tr here, and this is our end if. Let's put it somewhere here. Now with this setup, let's go up. You know, we created the product class, we call the product table. So below here, I'm going to do dot product table. I'll put the width, set it to be 100%, add border collapse to be collapsed, and I'll add margin. Let's make it to be like 25 ps. 5 might be too much, so have it at 25. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this so I can use it to just make some changes. Now inside this here, I'll add the th dot product again table, the td, changes to be border. Inside the border, I will add it to be 1 ps, then solid. Let me use this white. Okay, what else do I need? Let me add padding. Remove this one and add padding to it. Add it to be 10 ps. Let me make it to be test align. Okay, save it. Go back here. Close this. We are done with the information we want to pull out from there. Refresh this. Okay, you see our design is looking good. we have been able to pull up information coming from. So if you want to compare it here, see the same 289, 800, right? 500 and 159, 855. All right. So yeah, this is how you can do web scraping in Django. In fact, in Python. The function I wrote was in Python, but relating to the Django web framework, because I had to just build up a template to be able to show you guys the info. You can read more on this documentation of Beautiful Soup so you can understand more how you can manipulate data. There's a lot of things you can do using this Beautiful Soup to extract, insert, clear, decompose. Then also if you want to add the information in your database, there's a way. If I wanted to save information that I'm pulling out from here in my database, I can do that. But in this regard, I don't want to do that. I just wanted to show you how you can scrap out data and use it to do whatever you want to do. We have come to the end of the video. If you learned something and if this video was helpful, please subscribe. I'll see you some other time. I remain your humble servant and your favorite YouTuber here, Joshi Vibe. Till we meet again, it's bye bye for now. Peace out.
Life on a probability, but I get the ability to break the tranquility.